Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back to TOEFL methodology, and now we are in meeting 3. In the third meeting, we're going to be talking about second language acquisition theories. Okay, as usual, before I start the presentation, I'd like to read you the learning outcome of this meeting. Yeah. So by the end of this chapter, you're expected to be able to comprehend and explain second language acquisition theories. Okay, so basically in this meeting, we're going to be studying the theories related to second language acquisition. Yeah, first thing first, let's study what SLA is, or second language acquisitions. Okay, well, basically SLA is the study of how second languages are learned, the study of the acquisition of a non-primary language, how learners create a new language system with only limited exposure to a second language. SLA is the study of what is learned of second language and what is not learned, why most second language learners do not achieve the same degree of knowledge and proficiency in a second language as they do in their native language, why only some learners appear to achieve native-like proficiency in more than one language. Okay, so this is actually what SLA covers. We're going to be studying 3 theoretical paradigms in language acquisitions, which are, number 1 is behaviorism, yeah, by Skinner. Yeah, it's actually Skinner's behaviorist theory, and then innatism or Chomsky-Innatis theory, and Gratian's theory, which have 5 hypotheses. Number 1 is the acquisition learning distinction, the natural order hypothesis, the monitor hypothesis, the input hypothesis, and the affective filter. Now, let's start from behaviorism. Okay, this is the theory which states that someone learns oral language from other humans through processes that involve imitations, appreciations, and practice. Behaviorism through imitations, again, yeah, appreciations and practice. So language learners acquire a language through words repeated by others. Imitation. This is based on this theory. In this case, the person who teaches them, yeah, and then when they repeat these words correctly, when a language learner repeats the words they learn correctly, there is a stimulus, right? And the stimulus is given in the form of reinforcement or appreciations, which then result in further responses produced by them. Yeah, so there is a stimulus, okay, in behaviorism. The principles of behaviors theory are, number 1 is that focusing on spoken language. Yeah, because the main media of this is actually the main media of a language, of an oral language. Yeah. Second, it is a theory of teaching a language that focuses on habit formations. Habit formation. It's like the audiolingualism, yeah, method, if you still remember. And then stimulus response, SR, because there is a stimulus, is a case of poor conditioning. Its stimulus provokes a response, and each response is the cause of the stimulus. The process continues this way. Stimulus and response. All learning is a process of habit formation as a result of reinforcement or appreciation. Okay? However, according to Noam Chomsky, he gave a striking response to Skinner's thesis. He said that if all language is learned behavior, how come children produce language they have never heard before? Right? This is also a good question. So according to him, according to Chomsky, that language learning is not just repetition, not just that, but all children are born with a kind of language processor called a black box, or language acquisition device, yeah, which allows them to formulate language rules based on the input they receive. Okay, so children actually have a language acquisition device. This is actually based on Chomsky. That's why we have Chomsky theory or innathism. Yeah, according to Chomsky, yeah, this one innathism. Well, all humans are born with LED, language acquisition device, which gives them the ability to process linguistic rules. And every child has that. So children do not only imitate the sound, it's which is based on the theory of this one, right? Now, behaviorism. So it is actually contradictory with behaviorism. Yeah. But also, children arrange grammar in the languages they go through the natural development process. And the LED will be difficult to function after the critical period for language learning has passed. That is the reasons why innatists believe that it is more difficult to learn languages in adulthood. Children learn uh, English more easily, yeah, than adults based on this theory because there's a critical period for learning a language. While based on creation theory, okay, there's some hypotheses. Number one is acquisition, learning, distinction, natural order, the monitor, the input. Uh, we're gonna discuss one by one, starting from the acquisition, learning, distinction. Yeah, it's different between language acquisition and learning. Bear in mind, language acquisition is a subconscious process, not unconscious, but subconscious process. What does it mean? It means that learners are not aware of the fact that they are learning something, that they are acquiring language, but are only aware of the fact that they are using the language for communications. So when they learn something, they are not aware that they are learning that. Okay, yeah, this is so interesting, right? Grammatical sentences sound right or feel right and errors feel wrong even if you do not consciously know what the rules will violate. So they're generally not consciously aware of the rules of the languages. Yeah. Meanwhile, language learning, this is a conscious process. Yeah. It refers to conscious knowledge of a second language, knowing the rules, being aware of them, being able to talk about them. This is uh, language learning. Okay. Second hypothesis, natural order hypothesis. This might surprise you, but actually, this is there is a theory which says that uh, there is a there is an order, a predictable order. Acquirers, learners, yeah, of a given language tend to acquire certain grammatical structures early and others later. The agreement among individuals acquirers is not always 100%, but there are clear statistically significant similarities. So when people learning a language have uh, a predictable order that they start from this and everybody does the same, even not all. Yeah. Okay. Shortly after Brown's results were published, Dooley and Bird reported that children acquiring English as a second language also show a natural order. Yeah. The child of second language order of acquisition was different from the first language order. But different groups of second language acquirers showed striking similarities. Now, if you look at this a picture, yeah, like uh, language learners usually start from English language learners usually start from progressive, plural, to be, and move to auxiliary, move to irregular, regular, yeah, move to singular and possessive, for example, right? Monitor hypothesis. Based on this hypothesis, it posits that acquisition and learning are used in very specific ways. Yeah. So learning has only one function. There is a monitor or editor, and learning comes into play and only to make changes in the form of our utterance. Okay. Now, so that's why, yeah, according to this hypothesis, there are some rules. Yeah, rules only when three conditions are met. The research strongly suggests that second language performers can only can use conscious rules only when three conditions are met. Number one is time. Number two is focus on form and know the rule. Yeah. So basic types of performer are monitor over users, monitor under users, and optimal monitor users. They're different. Yeah, between monitor over. Yeah, these are people who attempt to monitor all the time. Yeah. Are you an are you a monitor over user or monitor under users? Yeah. Who prefer not to use their consistent knowledge even conditions allow it. These are performers who haven't learned. So is monitor under user your basic type of performer? Or maybe the optimal monitor user, performers who use the monitor when it is appropriate and when it doesn't interfere with communications. Yeah. And then next is creation theory about the input hypothesis. Yeah. According to the input hypothesis, it's actually yeah it has two descriptions. Yeah, two descriptions. Number one is a statement of the hypothesis and evidence supporting the hypothesis. Okay, statement of the hypothesis. Yep, a stage I to stage I plus one. What does it mean? It means that students or acquirer understand inputs inputs that contains I plus one. Where understand means that acquirer is focused on the meaning and not the form of the message. If you give your students a question which is too easy, there's no learning. Because based on this theory, yeah, condition to move from stage I to stage I plus one is that the acquirer understand the input in the content I plus one. Yeah, and evidence supporting hypothesis like first language acquisition in children, evidence from second language acquisition simple codes, evidence from second language acquisition the silent period and L1 influence, advantages and disadvantages of L2 rule use, applied linguistic research behavior. Yeah, and last but not least, creation theory is about affective filter. Yeah, in the affective filter, it states how effectively factors related to the second language acquisition process. Okay, most of those studied can be placed into these three categories: motivation, self-confidence, anxiety. Remember, the three categories that are so important for you to finish your study is that motivation, self-confidence, and anxiety. Yeah, this is the picture. Okay, all right. Yeah, it's been in the last page, and I think that's all for today. Thank you very much. Yeah, for watching, and good luck for your study. I'll see you next week. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.